this is Mel in the middle and I'm hanging by a rope. There's no way I could possibly flip myself around. But I'm going to do it imaginatively. I'm going to do it, in a very real sense. I'm going to step out of this seat. And as I step out of this seat, someone else is going to step in for me. The opportunity presents itself. So I'm going to take that moment
It's
and
a little bit nerve-wracking all of a sudden.
have Alicia take my seat. And she is going to the
Be
middle.
Mel in the middle.
Wow, guest star Alicia.
I'm going to see what it's like to be in the middle.
That is so shiesty.
Wow.
Okay.
That means you're the host.
Oh no. Oh boy.
How do you feel?
Welcome, Melina.
Okay.
Is that where we're going with Melina?
Melina.
I guess Melina. Melisha.
Alright, Melisha.
Melisha. I like Melisha.
Wow. You have no idea what's going on.
Oh, I
You are
know.
as shocked as we are. That
I don't
Mel
know
just,
either.
Mel just walked off.
And the only one who
The
knows
set.
is gone.
That's right.
So what are we gonna do?
We have to ask her a question.
We have to ask her all the questions.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
you know, earlier she was all tough outside at lunchtime and said, you know what, if you guys want to throw me in a video, throw me in a video. And she probably didn't think Mel was paying attention to that, did she? Probably not. She thought, oh, Andy and Summer, they're shiesty.
Mel put you in the middle.
He did.
How do you feel about this?
I can't reach the rope.
You can't reach the rope? Well, then you're done.
Oh, no.
You're going to be really by a fingertip.
All right, Andrew, what are we going to do with this?
All right, so you want me to ask the
We're
question?
going to chew her up and spit her out? or
Right,
what?
yeah. Here we go. So I'm going to ask you the question I was going to ask Mel.
Melisha.
No mercy, just because you are a good friend. No mercy.
And we're not a respecter of persons.
And we're not. Right, just because you
Guy,
are
girl, short, tall.
completely opposite stature as Mel. He's what, 6'20", and you're
6'20"?
and you are like what? How tall?
5'1".
5'1", right? So we cannot be.
That extra
can-
inch.
All right, here's my question. Like this is the question that Mel must have known the question because he just walked out on this question. You ready?
Who does that?
Oh,
Right.
but let's try it.
So I was thinking this week about lots of different things, but one of the things that I was thinking about was that we have a bunch of well-known pastors and pastoresses, right?
Pastoress.
Who are all starting to get involved in this CBD oil thing, right? It is a closely related cousin to marijuana, and it's used in medical marijuana.
It's part
Right?
of marijuana.
I was
Part
gonna
of
say
the
it's
deal.
part of the plant.
But all the scientists, all the really smart people swear to you that you're not going to get high on it. It's not going to alter any part of you, right? But I'm thinking about pastors, and I'm thinking about pastors pushing a medicine to help you through your problems, right? And I'm wondering why, as pastors, we're not pushing more of Jesus for those problems, right? Why are we pushing people towards medical things? And does that cause a problem? And where do we stand on this whole medical issue? Does that make sense? Right? So should these well-known pastors, by the way, who have all started their own CBD business,
What? Come
right?
on.
So
Really?
well-known.
I didn't even know this.
So the Joyce Meyers,
Oh, well, duh.
the Joel Osteens, the Andy
Big
Stanleys,
shocker.
the people like that have all started these CBD ministries, right?
What the heck?
But they're pastors. So should they be pushing Jesus or his creation? There's my question. Now Mel wants to jump back in.
Too bad, so sad, Mel.
Don't you, Mel?
Or is this a double flip?
No, I'm
Is this
just
like a tag
enjoying-
team phone a
So,
friend thing?
do you know what?
So confused.
I
Right.
phone a pastor.
So you know what? Now that I have posed the question,
Uh-huh.
it seems only fair that we double super flip this and bring Mel back in to answer the question. Don't you think?
This is true.
That's just only fair, Mel.
Wait, no, you're
I mean,
right.
because I.
Right, Mel.
Oh.
I posed the question.
Wait, get back in the middle. And you could be in
That's
a
true.
summer Alicia sandwich.
Militia sandwich.
I
Thank
don't
you very
want it
much.
to be uneven, you know. Gotta be Mel in the
This
middle.
is a much nicer looking Mel in the middle.
Never thought I would be double flipped.
Well,
Back in the center
I warned
of
you,
this fascinating discussion. CBD, I don't know much about it. If people want to use it, to me it's fine. But would I push it? No. Would I advise people to get it? Not really. I mean, I would say if it works for you, fine. But don't come to me regarding advice.
Yeah.
I mean, if they wanted to say, is this associated with marijuana to get me high? I'd say I really don't know enough about the stuff to say. Would I consider trying it myself? Yeah, maybe I would. Yeah. Because it's not the same thing as the thing that gets people high.
Well, what does it matter? You know, like how? What is it? So,
I mean, if to get people high with marijuana,
so is getting high with marijuana a sin?
I would say, yeah, it would be.
Why?
Meaning, isn't it kind of equivalent to getting drunk?
Okay.
That is, you come under the influence of something else rather than your own faculties and and the Holy Spirit. I mean, it's like putting yourself in a vulnerable position under the control of another thing.
But isn't that what you're doing?
With CBD,
Yeah.
I don't think it has the same effect as marijuana.
What?
By taking CBD, are you putting? It seems like, are you putting your trust in something that's not of God? Like, if pastors are pushing this, then do they support something that man is creating, so to say? Because we're pushing this whole CBD thing, like, this is the solution for all of your problems. This is the solution for all your problems. But if you're a pastor, shouldn't Jesus be the solution for all of your problems?
I mean, we say all the time, like, God can use medicine. Like, we don't say doctors are bad. We don't say medicine
Right.
in itself is bad.
But to rely solely, but if there's
Well, right, it shouldn't be the first answer.
right, and because they'd be held accountable for that, I would think, if they're pushing it.
I mean, I would say, how are they pushing it? Meaning, is it being pushed from the pulpit? Is it something that they are doing outside of the call that they have as a pastor?
What if they write a book about it, promoting it? Promoting it. The thing.
It's like, why would you want to get the green light from a pastor? Wouldn't you want to go to another source that could speak more intelligently to the matter? In other words, those who have been in the field, those who have been experimenting with it, those who have been administering it, I think they know more about it than a pastor would.
Well, yeah, but I guess what he's saying is that these pastors have decided to push it.
Yeah.
But come on, Mel, haven't you experienced like people in your church time, right? That think like you have all the answers. I mean, come on. To everything they want to know. Like, as long as you say it's okay, then they can do it. Right? Like, you give them permission.
To be
I'm
honest
sure
with
you've
you,
met at least one of those people who
da, da,
are
da.
like that. They seek your approval on things because you're a pastor. Then they don't have to worry about dealing with God because a pastor told me I could do it, so the responsibility's out for me.
Yeah, and maybe people have done that in talking to me where I didn't realize what was possibly transpiring within their own soul about it.
So if a lot of people do that, do you think Satan would use pastors to push an agenda?
Yeah, I think that's a real possibility, definite reality. I mean, and I think, I think right away, prosperity gospel. But then again, that's more along the theological. Are there things outside the theological that could be pushed in ways that's not of God? Yeah.
You think Satan might, I mean, it's coincidental timing on the CBD thing, isn't it? That we have all these other medical things going on in the country. Do you think Satan's just trying to warm up the church for accepting weird medical solutions?
Also,
Out of the box medical solutions?
and also, could it be a way for the enemy to further weaken the church? Because if you think about it, churches and pastors are supposed to build relationships with people and communities and things like that. Well, if you've got pastors promoting CBD, that's just, here, take this thing. This will make all your problems go away. They're not really trying to build the relationship. So do you think it's a tactic that the enemy's trying to further weaken the church leadership?
I mean, I think it definitely could be. It depends how much it controls the pastor and his and how that influences his ministry. And I just see it as something that can, on the one hand, be good, but on the other hand, be very negative. And when I hear, I mean, had I not heard that these individuals were selling it, I would have no idea that this was actually happening in their lives.
So, you know what that makes me think of? All those commercials, right, for pills and stuff that you don't know exist. Because why would you if you didn't need them and your doctor gave them to you, right? But you're sitting on your couch and all these commercials come up and they're like, you know, if you have this or you have this problem or you like this or you like this or you ask your doctor about this pill. And then most people, right, because Satan knows how we work, they're sitting there and like, yeah, you know what? I do have that problem. I do have that. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should. And then, oh, there's another customer. So you just said you would have no idea about anything with CBD if these pastors weren't doing it. So how many people in their church don't know about CBD, don't know about this stuff until they come to the pulpit and say, hey, guess what? There's this real great thing you should try.
I know.
If you're struggling with this, are you struggling? Are any of you out there struggling? Who isn't? We're all in the same boat. That sounds like Satan to me. I don't know.
Yeah, where that becomes an item in which they put their misplaced trust. I mean, I can see CBD being a possible answer to something that needs a medicine. That's something that can be an alternative to the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, I can see that, but I think, again, I would go to people who have studied it more and can speak to it much more intelligently than probably a pastor could.
I think CBD is like the new coffee, honestly. Like, I know people that they have no medical need for CBD, but it's everywhere. It's like an essential oil now. It's it's like built into everything. I know people that put it in their coffee, people that like just have it all the time. Like and they don't have a medical need. Mm-hmm. It's just like you know, it's
like a daily supplement.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the
Your
new
daily
trend.
dose of CBD.
Right, my daily
Yeah.
dose, and it's just like
So it's not mind altering, as it functions
thing
more like a
it's-
supplement.
The thing itself isn't mind altering, but the concept behind it might be
it's just another one of the zombie things that I talk about all the time. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you saying you believe what you believe? Why are you voting for who you vote for?
your intent.
Is it because everyone else is? Is it because someone told you to? Is it because it's the new thing to do? Are you in zombie mode and you're just doing it because it's there? Like, does anyone even know what it means, what it is, what it does, why they need it? Do they need it? Or do we all, like, how many people are on antidepressants?
So they would say, could CBD function as an alternative to that? I mean, I don't know exactly to or what degree CBD makes promises or what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's mostly like a peace calming thing. Like, it doesn't get you high. but
Right.
it's almost like an antidepressant that's not an antidepressant, right? It doesn't make you happy or get you high, but it like calms you. Like a cigarette, right?
Right.
People smoke,
Yeah.
calms you.
Yeah.
Nicotine at first spikes you, but then it calms you. But it's, yeah, pulpit, preaching, fake peace, go figure. I'm gonna get stuck myself here.
See, I think
It's all, I think everything, it doesn't matter what it is. Anything can be a sin if you're mindlessly doing it and doing it for the wrong reasons. So it doesn't really matter if it's right, wrong, or otherwise. And again, you eating a donut cannot be a sin, and for me, it could be a sin. So it doesn't really matter. The point is, should a pastor be pushing that? Should a pastor be pushing anything from the world like that as a primary thing? Or should a pastor have one singular agenda on anything that isn't the gospel? Like, we can address things, but should you be zeroed in on one thing? Or
Yeah.
even one sin? We've talked about that, right? Should you only focus on one sin, or should you segregate one sin? Nope.
right.
Right.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I
yeah.
don't
and
think I don't think you should be at the pulpit at all.
And how do you know the CBD is good for everybody across the board? It's not it's not a one shoe fits all.
Bingo. Very good,
It's not a one
Alicia.
shoe fits all. So
That's very good.
because that goes back to your whole donut thing. You eating a donut is different than if I were to eat a donut. Like if you have a,
I don't know.
if you
You better you too.
this is true. But like if you have a gluttony problem and I don't, then if you eating a donut has a higher effect than it would say on me, because I can just look at it and be like, you could be like, and zone in on it.
Yeah, I think you bring up some things where, going like a Romans 14, everybody's going to have to decide this within their own conscience. And I think it's a very good point, Alicia, to say CBD is not necessarily one size fits all. And it's kind of what I gotta admit, this is off topic, but appreciate a commercial that I've seen where at least Relief Factor says, if it doesn't work in 3 weeks, it's probably not going to work for you. I just appreciate how upfront they are. And
Well, but what does the end of Romans 14 say? At the very end, I think last verse. It says, it talks all about the things that we don't do to make them stumble, right? But the last thing is, if you're the one, right? I'm summarizing because I don't know the exact verse. But if you're the one that decides to do that thing out of the peer pressure or out of the conviction of others, then you yourself are sinning. Because you're not doing it for the glory of
out
God.
of faith.
You're not doing it out of your own faith. You're doing it out of essentially peer pressure.
Yeah.
That's what it says. So, yeah, I think that's super messed up
Right.
for pastors to be pushing that, especially to the extent of creating their own CBD lines and things. Like,
And
that's weird.
yeah,
That is.
That's weird.
I'm sorry. You're right.
That's just weird.
yeah, that's like That's like a scientist saying, "I'm going to be a gardener." You're not what's a pastor know about CBD? Like, why it's so you don't even know what you're pushing, or if you do know, like, how do you really know what you're pushing? Can you trust the science?
I mean, I think they're separate and irrelevant, but I just don't think that you should be taking advantage. I feel like the enemy's just using them because of their ability to reach so many people.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if pastors are pushing this,
They're just being puppeted by Satan.
Yeah, they're trusting something, but how do you know? How do you trust the source? Because I can be an anonymous person online and say I have a PhD in XY in botany, and I approve of this, and then you being a pastor is like, oh, this is from someone with a PhD.
I say that about pastors. You know, they have a XYZ.
How do you know I'm accredited? I could just be some guy in a basement.
Mm-hmm. Mel loves when I say that.
So
Pastor school. Sorry.
So we're not saying that people can't take CBD. Our issue is the role of CBD and pastors pushing it to the degree that it becomes a product associated with them.
Or the Bible.
Pastors should push the gospel out.
Right.
And if it's something that they cannot help you with the gospel, then they need to tell you to seek God on your own and that individual thing.
Mm-hmm. Individual relationship.
It's not, you can't give everybody the answer to everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No one can.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to actually go to God by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And as a pastor, you should be pushing that as well for the people.
But you don't make money off that, Alicia.
This is true.
Can't charge for that.
Which could be a whole nother topic.
That's right, Mel. Wrap it up.
But this is good, so I'm glad we had a double flip today. Didn't expect it, but that's what you should expect when regards to
Expect
Mel.
the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected with Mel in the middle. Thank you, Felicia, for joining us today.
Bye, Felicia.